short distance from 105 up there turning in, and then you're going to have quite a few people, I think, from the Jackson Creek area and all the other areas that are south coming in that first day, and that could be quite a mess. But that was my question there.
Commissioner Hours, I can address that. Our police chief has been involved in the review of this, and he is planning, if there is any traffic situations there, to have officers out there along Jackson Creek to help with the developer or with the owner of Whataburger with any needs that we have with traffic control.
Thank you very much. And I'd just like to make the comment. I think that this is great for jobs for residents. I think there's going to be a lot of young folks that don't have an opportunity to get jobs in this area. I think it'll provide jobs for both seniors and young folks. I think the young folks at the high school are just going to love this location, and I think it's also going to serve our community quite well. I think we need more of these type of activities than some of the other activities that have been planned for this site. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Hours. Thank you. All right, other commissioners?
Yes, I had just a couple of quick questions on clarification. Sorry. You mentioned that the only signage was going to be on the building itself, but I noticed on the drawing there's a indication of a proposed monument sign.
There is an option for a monument sign if needed. It would be up to 8 feet tall, but the client has indicated that they probably won't require that because of the on building signage. So they rely on their building signs to provide their advertising. But it is shown there as an option, but it's not a large freestanding sign.
Okay. And then one other question, and it might be more directed at the franchisee in terms of, can you give us some idea of traffic volume, business volume in the morning, afternoon, and overnight? Just kind of, is it like 20% morning, 60% of the businesses noon to 10 o'clock, and then 10% overnight? I'm just wondering if you have that type of information. So
the traffic study does make assumptions regarding, I actually don't have that in front of me. The master traffic study makes assumptions for the commercial based on typical commercial traffic peaks, and which are very different, obviously, from residential peaks. But in terms of the percentage that might be with a 24-hour operation in the evening versus during the day, I can ask Mr. Tamiga if he has that information. William, do you have that information about the rough split of traffic volumes or activity?
As a general rule, certainly the peak meal periods are the busiest, with lunch being number one, dinner number two, and breakfast number three. And then, how big of a piece of the pie those are is really location specific. Just depending on the traffic flows of the corridors feeding the site. And so we expect this to be, fairly normal, with lunch being the biggest and the dinner day part being strong, and it being busy at breakfast as well.
Does that answer your question?
That's good. Thanks.
Just a few more questions. Has there been, because I think this is, to Commissioner Hours' point, this is going to be a hot spot for like post football game. I mean, LP's like playing right there. A lot of people in that stadium. Let's hit it. It's not just going to be opening weekend. It's going to be, any given Friday night, especially during football season or any large games. Any additional considerations being given for the traffic that is likely to swell game times or otherwise? I mean, this is going to be the spot to hit. It's just too close. High schoolers are going to love it.
Yeah. And to the points I made earlier, is that this has more than twice the stacking capacity than the Interquest site does, and pretty much any other site that we were working on currently, which are generally much smaller. So this is a larger site, and because of that, we were able to accommodate more stacking. So that's kind of built into the model anyway. That additional and the additional drive-through lane as well. The 3 drive-through lanes will accommodate that, and obviously there's parking on site for anybody who actually wants to go into the restaurant and eat at the restaurant, which may be just as likely after a game than just picking up takeout. So, but I think just this site in particular is very well suited to accommodate those additional influxes with the additional stacking, which is way over and above the town standards, by the way.
Understood. And the
Which is about
800,
90 feet, but
the 860 feet of stacking or
Yeah.
so, was that including the Fat Tire, Laughing
no, that was an
Lab?
additional 350
That's an
feet.
additional 300 feet.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
800 and
yeah.
is all within that parking
Mhm,
area, the acre,
Yes,
1.7 something.
Yeah.
Okay.
and bear in mind that these streets are Fat Tire. Well, this section of Fat Tire, obviously it goes on to the east side as well. This section of Fat Tire and Laughing Lab are really just serving these businesses. They
Right.
they are not, and the apartments, they are not through streets so that anybody's going to be blocking anybody's access for a significant manner.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, thank you. All right, so let's move. If anyone would like to make a motion to vote, please do so now.
Commissioner Hours,
Go ahead. Commissioner Hours, we can hear you, just so you know.
yeah, I'm trying to get to the motion. Okay. I move that the Planning Commission recommend approval of Burger Works Monument Junction preliminary final PUD based on the findings that the proposed PUD plan is in conformance with the review and approval criteria as outlined in Town of Monuments Land Development Code 18.03, 0.450, and 18.03.460.
Okay, I'll second. And we'll turn to Therese to facilitate a vote.
Commissioner Danny Hours,
Yes.
Commissioner Light,
Yes.
Commissioner Zernicow,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Egley,
Yes.
Commissioner, Vice Chairman Martin Trujillo,
Yes.
Chairman Wilhelmie.
Yes, and I'd just like to commend the thoughtfulness that went into the traffic, which was the biggest issue, as well as the roads that are serving this. And I think that's what did it. So yes.
And this motion passes 7-0.
Okay, thank you to the applicant. And as voted on earlier, we will not be covering items 3 or 4. So therefore, we will move to non-agenda public items. These are land development issues only. So keeping that in mind, for the public who would like to make a comment at this time, we are just focused on land development, what the Planning Commission would probably hear or likely hear. I'll limit it to 3 minutes as well. I'll first look to the audience for any public comments, if there are any. And I'll then look to online. I don't see any hands up. And given that it's late, I will just keep moving this along. So with that, I will close the non-agenda public items portion, and I will look to staff for reports, communications, or announcements. Yes.
I don't think we have any at this time, sir.
All right, thank you. Anything from the commissioners?
Commissioner Hours?
Hold on, Commissioner Hours. Kathy's going on.
Okay, talk about staff reports and what's in them and kind of how they're wise to maybe make things clear for us.
Definitely.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Hours?
Yeah, I just wanted to let Teresa and you and the town manager know that I'll be emailing the motion that I made tomorrow morning and the rationale that I made tomorrow morning so that you have all that for the minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Hours. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll adjourn.